All right, here we are. Welcome back, everyone. We're at episode 3 of the AVID Investor Podcast, and I'm your host, Josh Ademek. So today we're going to cover common question I get. I get a lot of people that reach out to me that want to know, how do I get started in real estate? How do I get started? How do I get going? What do I need to do to get going in the business? And the answer to that is it depends. I mean, it depends on what you're looking to accomplish as a real estate investor. What are your goals? What type of strategy are you looking to do? If you were like, if you're in the position like I was when I started in the business, I was young, I was hungry, I was broke. And I always had a vision to build a big portfolio, to create something, on a large scale. And, not everybody has those goals or those ambitions. Some people just want to supplement their income. Some people, that are a little bit later in life want to supplement their retirement, want to set their kids up, set their grandkids up, whatever the case may be. So the answer is, to get started in real estate, it depends on what you want to do. What I mentioned in a previous episode, the way I got started in the business is I read a book. I read a book. It was Fast Cash by Ron LeGrand. And keep in mind, when I started 20 years ago, it was pre-social media, pre-blogs, the internet wasn't, it was there, but, it wasn't what it is today. I'll never forget, when I was making offers on those first properties, we had dial up. So I would come home from work, I'd turn my computer on, I'd open email, and I'd wait for stuff to download. I'd go get a shower, I'd make dinner, and we'd eat dinner, and 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, I'd come back and those PDFs are starting to download so that I could, open the attachments and start looking at property. So it was much different than it is today. But in order to get started, you got to learn about the business. You got to learn about all aspects of the business. You got to learn about the market, the different strategies. You need resources. And again, depending on where you're at in life, depends on, what resources you need available to you. If you were like I was, young, hungry, broke, you need all the resources. You need to know about the real estate, the investments, the property types, the markets, the cycles, things like that. And then you need the cash, the financing. So, I know people are in a little bit different position. We work now we work a private equity model where we create and manage portfolios for accredited and institutional investors. So those types of investors don't need, aren't looking to be an active investor, and two, don't need all the resources that some other folks need. So what I would suggest is there's an abundance of information out there on the internet. A lot of it, some of it, is bogus. A lot of the things that you'll come across are pitches, sales fests to get you to sign up for, a mentorship or a platform, or whatever the case may be. On like I said, there's a lot of stuff on the internet these days. There's some good stuff out there too. There's some very good mentorship programs. There's some very good blogs. There's some very good platforms. But with the abundance of information, you really got to watch what you get into. The biggest thing I could recommend is get involved with your local RIA. For those that don't know, RIA is a Real Estate Investors Association. There's one in most cities across the U.S. If there's not one in your town, there's probably one relatively close by. But I would recommend getting involved with your RIA if you're looking to be an active investor, even a passive investor. Start going to your local RIA. Our local RIA here in Pittsburgh, it's called Acre of Pittsburgh, ACRE. There's the website's acrepgh.org. I started going to Acre, over 20 years ago before I started investing in real estate. And that's where, I made a lot of connections. I, I, I linked up. I got some guidance from some folks that have been in the business, for 10, 20 plus years, linked up, did sort of, like a mentorship type program, more so, teamed up with some of the guys, not really a formal mentorship, but more so teamed up with one of the guys where, as I had mentioned previously, I was working some of his dead leads. He was helping me along, guiding me through the business, teaching me some aspects of the business. And, the trade-off is I was working the dead leads. I was creating some value and creating some income for both of us. So as I had mentioned, Acre is our local RIA, Acre of Pittsburgh. If you're in town, if you're in Pittsburgh, check it out. I mean, it's there's no obligations. I am currently on the board of directors there at Acre, and I have been for more than a decade. We're all volunteers. I felt the need to participate in the board and be a part of the board of directors and help run the organization, because that's where I got my start. And there's nothing, it's pretty satisfying to see new guys come in, be up in front of the room talking or teaching a class, or just networking with people in the back of the room and offering some guidance and some resources. Somebody comes in with some questions, hey, I need a roofer, or hey, I got this property I'm looking at. So we're there as volunteers on the board of directors to help guide the mentorship to invest responsibly. So regardless of what city or town you're in, if you want to learn about the business, there's no better place to learn about the business than your local RIA. At those organizations, there's typically monthly meetings. Some of them have subgroups. Some of them have subgroups, focus groups, whatever they want to call them. If you want to dive into, a specific aspect of the group, there might be a little club or a little group within that organization that, if you want to be a landlord, or you want to be a wholesaler, you want to be a flipper, you want to do private money, whether you're borrowing or lending, investing, there's probably a group for that. There's probably a subgroup, an organization, that focuses and hones in on those details. But, highly recommended. Join a local RIA. It's a networking group. Again, when I started in the business, it was sort of pre-internet, pre-Facebook groups, blogs and podcasts and things like that. So you had to do the old fashioned thing. When you wanted to learn, you had to pick up a book and read. You had to get in your car and you had to drive, and oh my, you had to actually talk to people. So, that's that's a good place to get started. Learn, kind of hone in, when you're getting started in real estate, you got to figure out what your goals are. What are you trying to accomplish? As I said at the beginning, is your goal to supplement your income? Is your goal to replace your income and eventually transition into real estate full time? Or, or if you're a little bit later in life, are you looking to supplement your retirement, or, be more active with your investments and your holdings, or look for different opportunities with your investments and holdings? All of that can be accomplished through real estate. In my opinion, there's no better place to invest other than bricks and mortar. Especially, in the Pittsburgh market. I'm a Pittsburgh guy, born and raised. I've always been a Pittsburgher. My business has always been, in Pittsburgh and surrounding areas. But if you look at, market cycles, I mean, Pittsburgh is, we're just the steel city, bricks and mortar, real estate. We have some, there's some fluctuation when the market, rises and goes down. We have corrections, but historically, we've Pittsburgh has shown a slow but steady appreciation. So that's why I remain, in Pittsburgh, heavily invested in Pittsburgh and the surrounding markets. But again, if you're getting started in real estate, you gotta learn the ins and outs. What are you looking to, as I said, what are you looking to accomplish? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? Figure that out. Figure out your goals. Figure out what you're going to accomplish, and dive into the details. Hone in. Go to your local RIA. Read your books. Read the market studies. Learn about the market. When you're investing in real estate, a lot of towns, Pittsburgh included, is values are neighborhood by neighborhood. Some neighborhoods are street by street. Values adjust exponentially from one street to the next. So you got to know all that, before you go in, and then you have to know the property values. You have to understand the process, what's needed, depending on the strategy that you're going for. You gotta learn. You really have to understand the process, the business, the market, and understand all aspects of the business before you go all in. So the last thing that I want to see anybody do is say, I'm going to be a real estate investor. I watch this thing on TV. It's like they flip the house in 30 minutes. I can do it. Well, in my opinion, if you want to flip houses, you have no business flipping houses if you don't understand construction, if you don't know about construction in the process. So, if you get into a project and you underbid the renovations, or you pick the wrong area, pick the wrong property type, you're relying on a professional, a real estate agent, or somebody to tell you what the values are, or you're relying on a general contractor to, tell you what the renovation is that's needed on that property. Well, what happens if you come into an unknown or an unforeseen? You buy a house that's a full gut renovation, and you get into it, you find out the sewer lines collapsed, or you find out there's knob and tube wiring. You weren't accounting for that. You got to rewire the whole house. You got to dig up the front yard, dig up the street, tap the sewer. There's a lot of things that can become, pitfalls and become major problems if, you're not, properly educated on the process. So, when I started small. I was just buying these little single family homes in the surrounding areas around Pittsburgh. I was buying inexpensive homes that didn't need full remodels. And then, my first several homes, I did the majority of the renovation myself, nights and weekends, while working a full-time job. In my opinion, you should do that. You should be a part of the construction if you're able. That way you learn the aspects of what all is involved. And again, what I was doing with these homes, I was buying inexpensive homes. I was cleaning them up, fixing them up, might do some paint, some flooring, some light electrical, and kitchen baths. I never got into, nor should you, any major wiring or plumbing or anything like that. But I would be over there, I'd be painting the walls, I'd be cleaning them up. I would, I'd be over there being a part of the process. I did, on several of the jobs early on, I would hire an electrician to put a new service in, or I would get a plumber, general contractor to update the kitchen, update the bathroom, things like that. But all the minor, miscellaneous things that you can get in and do yourself, highly recommend it just to learn about the business. So it's very important to learn about, what all's involved in the process, from start to finish, from the acquisition to the finance, the capital stack, to the, placing the residence or working towards the sale. And then it's also, important to understand the details throughout the process, as far as the construction process and, things like that. So, again, I learned a lot of that. I made a lot of connections early on through my local RIA, which for me, it was Acre of Pittsburgh. If you're in town, anybody's welcome as a guest. If you're out of town, if you're out of Pittsburgh, just start searching for local RIAs, Real Estate Investors Association. Start going to those meetings, networking with those people, learn about the business. A lot of the organizations have vendor members, which you're going to need vendors if you're looking to be an active investor. You're going to need, you may need some financing. You may need to meet with some contractors, some general contractors, some subcontractors. You're gonna need a roofer at some point. You're gonna need some windows. A lot of these local real estate investors associations have the big suppliers, either whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's. They have representatives there that you can go and talk to. Flooring installers. There's no shortage of resources and connections to be had at your local RIA. And not to mention, networking with the other investors. Go early, stay late, at the break, if there's a break, talk to people. What are you doing? What strategy are you working? If you're looking to wholesale properties, you're going to meet people that are looking to buy at your local RIA. If you're looking to buy properties, you're going to meet some wholesalers. You're going to meet some, you're likely to meet some real estate agents that work with investors. Why would a real estate agent be at a local RIA if they didn't, work with real estate investors or understand real estate investing? You're going to meet your finance partners, whether that's an institution or maybe some private investors or some hard money lenders. There's many resources and many reasons to go and attend your local RIA. And then, once you understand the business, how you get started is you got to take action. I see so many people that have come to our local RIA or I've met in the business through, one platform or another, that uh, they start learning about the business. They come meeting after meeting, or they log on to the Facebook groups or the forums, and you see them. Maybe some of them, are friends or close connections of mine, where they're calling. We're talking, they're asking about the business, but at the end of the day, before you know it, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years passes by, and they've never taken action. They've never made a written offer. They've never went and actually looked at a property or talked with somebody about, financing the deal, or, they never took that next step. So very good friend and mentor of mine labels that as red zone, green zone activities. So red zone activities are, the miscellaneous stuff that has to get done that doesn't make you any money. Green zone activities are the things you need to do to be making money. And so many people get caught up in the red zone. Oh, it's like, I need a website. I need, I need to order these pens or this stationery, or I got to have business cards. You got to have business cards, right? So they get caught up in all that, front end stuff. And before you know it, 6 months or a year passes by and they've never made an offer on a property. So for me, you got to take action. You got to take, depending on how big of a real estate investor you want to be, or how big of a portfolio you want to grow. Sometimes you got to take massive action. You got to be relentless. If you want to start your business, grow your business over time, and get to the point where you're buying, 25, 50 or 100 homes a year, or, if you're a flipper and you want to do, 10, 12, 15 remodels at a time, well, you got to find those deals. You got to take massive action. You got to make a lot of offers. You got to set a lot of appointments. You got to look at a lot of houses, because, when you get into the business, it's not like you flip a switch and all these deals start rolling in. You got to look for them. You got to look for the deals. You got to look for the opportunities, and you got to find the ones that make sense. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So get started, join your local RIA. Get some, there's plenty of good content on the internet. Just get into those, into the Facebook groups, into the networking groups, the podcasts. And when you're getting into, if you decide to, go listen to a podcast or get into a blog or, some other sort of platform, read some reviews and talk to people. See, what kind of results people are getting. But first and foremost, I can't recommend it, highly enough. Join your local RIA. That's where you're going to make the connections in your town, in your city. And for me, that's all that was available at the time. And that's what I did. And that's how I got started. And, that was a big part in me growing my business in the early years. And, even still today, we make some connections and do some deals with folks at the RIA. So that's it. That's how you get started. I appreciate you listening, and we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you.